product I'm reviewing today is the Jo-Ral Bubble mute for trumpet / cornet. It's a nice mute, but the reason for me having it is simply the fact that other Harmon mutes, regular ones without this curvature, I don't know, all the manufacturers I've tried use a different sort of shape on top that just isn't compatible with the bell flare of my trumpet. See, this one actually fits in my bell, and that's why I have it. The tom crown did not fit. A couple others I tried did not fit. This was the only one that did. And, it's a nice mute. I like the sound it produces. It's got good clarity. Intonation's really, really wonky, so, or not necessarily wonky, just sharp, so you have to pull your tuning slide out. I usually have it about there with the Harmon in, or with the bubble mute in. It's at least out to there, but I feel like that's characteristic of all mutes in general, especially Harmon mutes. But it's a nice mute. It's got good corks that stick well in the bell of your trumpet, even if you do happen to forget to moisten them a little bit. They do tend to stick better if you give them some moisture. You could honestly just breathe on them, Just some warm air tends to get them moistened up. The stem, which is removable, like all Harmons, is rather loose. So right now it's not as loose because I've greased it up with a very liberal quantity of the thickest slide grease I have, which has sort of helped. You want the stem to move smoothly, but not too quickly, or else it'll fall out of your bell. And if the stem falls out of your bell, your sound changes entirely. That's the fun thing with this mute, is you can get a lot of different sounds out of it. So that's what we'll sort of demonstrate now. To demonstrate the various sounds that this mute is capable of producing, I've been lent a helping hand, and it's going to pull the stem out as I play, and you'll get to hear the different sounds. Thank you. So, it sort of has a spectrum of different sounds it can make. There's, of course, two main ones, which is stem in and stem out. You don't see too much in between in the music world. I suppose some people have experimented with it, but when the stem is fully in, it produces sort of a comical sound almost. And you can do wah effects with it. But you can also take the stem out, and it gives you a very fundamentally different sound. That's pretty good for like cocktail jazz and stuff. I could probably get away with using this without the wah. It's just sort of better with it. Whereas if you take the stem out, which is what you more commonly see, you get a very different sound. Things I like about this mute. Clarity is good, slotting is fairly good except for the lowest couple of notes. It's got a lot of buzz and resonance in the sound, which is really what you're looking for with a Harmon mute. And it's really fun to play, as hard as it may be to play on, any sort of mute like this. The bottom notes I really think could be a lot better. I'm pulling out with my slide about that far, which you never have to do otherwise on a low F sharp. Your slide should be all the way in for that note, without a mute in the bell. But slotting's really bad on those lowest couple notes. It still just feels wrong even when it is in tune. It's better with the stem than without it for whatever the reason. With the stem, it's actually quite nice. But clarity's pretty good, aside from those few notes. High register is pretty decent. It's as hard as it may be to play on, It can scream. It's not meant to. That's not what Harmon mutes are used for. But it can if you really want it to, for whatever the reason. These mutes are typically used for sort of the cool, calm side of jazz. A lot of this stuff in cocktail jazz, jazz combos, things like that. Off the top of my head, I don't know any sort of Harmon mute solos, but I can play something that I've played many a time on this channel. Vibrato is very free on this mute, and that's good because this is sort of the style of music in which you want to have a very free style of vibrato. It sounds nice when you use a lot of it on this mute. Yeah, so it's not really meant to play loud or high, but it can do those things sort of. It doesn't really want you to exceed a certain volume. It just backs up on you like crazy. It'll resist. It'll fight back stronger than I think anyone can fight it. But it can be a good power builder. I wouldn't do this very often at all because you'll basically destroy your face. But it can be used to increase your power, especially in the upper register. It feels terrible to do, frankly, and I sort of don't want to do any more of that. And that wasn't even that loud, but I guess you have to start somewhere. It can be used as a good power exercise. That'll just about wrap up my review of the Jo-Ral Bubble mute. It's rather expensive, but it's a really fun mute to play, and quite good as far as Harmon mutes go. Sure, it has all the usual anomalies, but it's got a really nice sound, and pretty good clarity and slotting, so what more can you really ask for? Hope you enjoyed.